Welcome back to PGI, where I am joined here tonight with two fantastic franchises in the SFL that made it to the championship game for season 25, Mexico City Aztecs and the Vancouver Legion. I have here representing tonight Mr. Mike Daggs and Joey Lynn from Mexico City. How you doing, fellas?
Doing good. How about you?
Doing great. Doing great. Thanks for
Doing
having us.
Doing great, man. Glad to be a part of this, even though I'm not a part of it. I'm still a part of it. Then I want to welcome Vancouver Legion's Ezekiel Bear, as well as Andy Hamilton. How are you gentlemen doing this evening?
Doing pretty good, thank you.
Good, Ashley. Thanks for having us.
Glad you can make it, gentlemen. So this is a rematch from last season. Now, this is not what I expected, but I'm curious to know from both of the ownership groups. Championship rematch for season 24. Vancouver loses to Mexico City 31-19 last time you guys met. During the regular season, though, things were kind of turned around where Vancouver was winning more than Mexico City. So how do you balance the legacy of being longtime SFL veteran owners and coaches with the pressure of winning the championship? Like, do you feel more motivated during this time, or do you feel the weight of expectations on your shoulders? Because both of you have been here before. Andy, I'll start with you first with this.
Yeah, I think, it's a great question. I think for us, we're excited to be back. We had a lot of roster turnover. I think it was 10 players leave our roster from last season's team, and we had to replace around 6 of them in different positions. It is a rematch in a lot of ways. It's the two logos facing off against each other. It's the same ownership groups, but it's a very different team that we're walking into the championship with. And so, as a team owner, oftentimes you're rebuilding the team, right? Very rarely do you get to do what Mexico City did, where you return, all but 2 players and have to adjust that. So a lot of it is building and preparing for the regular season games, and then hoping that you can shake out and have an opportunity to play in a game like this. So we're very excited to be back in the championship game, and we're looking forward to kind of correcting the things last season that we felt like maybe we missed out on by being a part of that opportunity. But you don't take the weight of the game any differently from any other game, right? We still kick off. It's still 0-0 when you get started. It's still the same players as you had. So we were, I think, a little surprised with the regular season result against these guys. And we're not going to take it lightly that we have to face them again.
No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't. Joey, your thoughts?
Yeah, obviously Vancouver is one heck of an organization. As Andy was saying, almost half the team either tested free agency or retired, and they brought in new guys that have fit the team like a glove. They lost in some really, really important players, guys who made plays last season. We all know the names, from Provato to, they basically have a new backfield. And they did not skip a beat. They can run the football extremely well. They use all their weapons, and they're a tough out. For us, it's a new season. Every week is a different week for us, right? And every week we're trying to go 1-0, regardless of the week, regardless of the opponent, regardless of the game. Whether it's a week 9 game, or it's a playoff game. Basically, the game planning is game planning against one team. Just look one week at a time, one game at a time, and just prepare to the best of our abilities. We've been here before, so has Vancouver, of course, and we've lost championships. Well, we lost one back in season 5. We won some, so we know what is to be on both sides of the spectrum, and hopefully we can game plan well to give Vancouver a better game than we gave them during the regular season.
Mike, same sentiments?
Yeah, ideally we want to score more than 0 this time. That week 9 game did not exactly go according to plan. I will say that Joey was on vacation in Argentina, so our lack of defensive coordinator that week really really showed right through. But game planning for this one is it's no different than the others. Of course, you want to win, but I think we are in a unique situation now. And I think Andy can even attest to this from last season, because I talked to Andy about it. Obviously, I want to win for the Aztecs, but I would have been almost as happy for Vancouver if they had won the championship last time. And here we are again. Whoever wins this, it's going to be Mexico City or Vancouver. It's going to be Andy and Ezekiel and his squad, or Joey and I and our squad. Either way, we all come out on top. I mean, it's two great franchises, and happy for both of us to be back here again. It's great.
Ezekiel, what is it like to be back in the championship back to back?
I think it's awesome. It's kind of surreal. It for me, being my second season in, it's kind of like this is just the normal. And I know that's not going to be the case every season, but honestly, I'm just looking at like any other game. Like, go out there, let's win. Doesn't matter what happened the week before. Doesn't matter what happened last time we played Mexico City. It's just this time it's for a ring.
Questions for Mexico City. The Aztecs are now one of the few franchises with 3 titles. Back-to-back championships are rare. So how do you keep the team and yourselves motivated after winning it all? And what messages are you telling yourselves and your players to prevent complacency or being overconfident?
Well, I think, I know the team is really excited about the opportunity to three-peat. They were talking about it as soon as they won the season 24 championship. That was the message that they were sending through the locker room is, all right, let's three-peat now. So the pressure never let off of Joey and I. They immediately wanted to go and, get right back into it. Plus we brought in, Miranda Dumas, the significant other of Jared Dumas, who much like Ezekiel knows nothing other than just making championship games. So, we got to temper expectations with him there, but Miranda made it very clear that now Jared has a ring and she needs one too. So, we've been fighting for both of those things, trying to get that three-peat, and we got to get Miranda her ring or we're never going to hear the end of it.
Joey, anything to add?
Well, as you will know, as everybody will know, winning never gets old, right? So, how you stay motivated is just by winning itself. Once you have some success, we spoke obviously last season, and the season before, I'm pretty sure, and we had 2 very, very tough seasons in which we won 9 games in a span of 2 full seasons, right? And we don't like to be in that side of the standings. At the end of the day, we work hard to get the wins, and that's what keeps, that's one of the things that keeps us motivated, because it's winning for the guys in the locker room, guys who've been here with us ever since the All-Pro era, ever since, before we had all this broadcast team and we had all this fancy stuff and you guys. We've had Ray Bentley and we had KL Barrett, guys who are still with us today, and they've stayed with us for almost a full decade now. And it's, it's for those guys. So, it's for those guys, and it's for the younger players too, Miranda Dumas and Jared and, everybody else in that locker room, Jeffrey, Max, everybody who came in, who believed in us. They could have chosen any other place in the SFL to go. When Vegas disbanded, Jacob Morrison and John Osiris, and they could have chosen any other place. And the place that they chose was a 6-6 football team that was, as the record will say, just average. And then, we've done what we've done. So, I do it for those guys.
Yeah, they deserve it. And Andy, you went from missing the playoffs in season 23 to reaching your first ever championship in season 24. And now you're back, returning for season 25. What changes? We talked about roster changes, of course, but were there any coaching changes or culture changes that attributed to the dramatic turnaround for you guys?
Good question. We as a staff, we've added Mark Lopez and Brett Killian to our ownership group. Similar to kind of Ramos's core group of players there. They were really kind of our core group of players. I as the years grew on, had taken on more of the burden as an owner, right? Like Ramos said, we've grown so much as a league. There's so many pieces of owning a team now, right? It's no longer you pick 9 guys and they're bronze, silver, or gold, and you put them on the field and you play, right? It's a lot of progression and building out, who you scout and who you kind of put on your team and how you build those individual players and help them build themselves. And so, there was a lot of time during season 23 and the couple years prior where I wasn't able to do that on my own. I don't have the brain power to start. I'm not that smart, and I'm not good at math. So, once we really moved into the progression side of things, I knew I needed help. And Mark Lopez and Brett Killian have just been such a breath of assistance and, really have kind of grown into, the position where, like, you put them on their own team, like they're going to be competing for championships in their own realm. And we're very grateful and lucky to kind of have them in our room and continue to kind of help build our team up. So I'll never discount kind of the effort and assistance that they've put forth and into our franchise. And they're truly the reason why we're competing for these things, right? I said it in our locker room when we clinched, the 1 seed was, hey, everyone should thank Mark for helping us get here. And I'm going to hitch my wagon to the back of his train. And however far he takes us is great. And so, I have a lot of years of coaching to go on top of that, right? So there's sometimes he'll go out in left field and I try and pull him back into kind of the center. But, as we've kind of worked together over the last couple of years here, we start to be on the same page. And I think you see that when our team hits the field.
So as someone on the team during this milestone season for the Legion, how does it feel to be a part of building a legacy? And what are some personal goals of yours for this upcoming game?
Oh my, how does it feel to be part of building a legacy? I don't know. Like that never was a thought that crossed my mind. I just take it day by day, step by step, and game by game with the Legion. I mean, I guess, we won our division. We clinched the first seed. We're back in the championship game. So I guess you could make that point that maybe we are building a legacy, but the first thing is we got to win the championship game. And I know the ownership, the front office is all busting their butt for that. They want it just as bad as the players. So hopefully we can, right our wrong from last season. Personal goals for me, it always boils down to winning. Like, I've told Mark several times, like, it doesn't matter if I have 10 catches and 100 yards or 1 catch for 8 yards, touchdowns or no touchdowns, kick returns, punt returns, or no punt returns and kick returns. I want to see the team win. That's the first and foremost. Everything after that is just icing on the cake for me.
So, Mike Ramos, what do you think separates the Aztecs from other top teams in the SFL, especially now that you've proven that you can win when expectations are high?
Well, Andy actually touched on one of those things. It's the roster consistency that we've had. We've been very fortunate to have a group of people that have wanted to return season after season. We've, after that 3-9 season that we had, that we don't speak of, but we'll speak of it now, I guess. But after that 3-9 season, we had a lot of turnover. A lot of people left, and like Joey said, we had a lot of people from Las Vegas come over, trusting that 3-9 team to do something good, and we went 6-6, and then the next season made the championship, and winning cures all ills. So it has certainly helped. That we're we've shown that we can consistently win and keep having success, and that brings those players back to the team season after season. And with as many moving parts as there are in the league now, to not have to constantly worry about where we're going to find people to fill various positions, and we know and can rely on most of these people coming back for next season. season after season. That's one thing that really helps us out, and it has certainly helped contribute to the success that we've had. Knowing that we don't like, kudos to Vancouver for having the turnover that you had that last season and be right back here, right where you left off, in the number 1 seed. I mean, that's impressive. To me, that's more impressive than the fact that Mexico City's back. Mexico City's back because we pretty much have the roster we had before, plus extra help on the defensive side with Miranda Dumas. Vancouver took a roster, made it to the championship, lost a bunch of it, replaced it, and made it right back to the championship. So to me, that shines even brighter than what we've been able to do.
No, I agree. What they did is remarkable. I can imagine. What if we lost Buford Van Dam and Jacob Morrison, and in addition to that, we lost Jason Bartley. In addition to that, we lose a couple of our defense players. All of that, and then we're still back in the championship game after just to be the 1 seed is absolutely remarkable. But I'll just piggyback of what Mike said of our team is the fact that we have a very committed group of guys who do their progressions every week, who stay together, who believe and have believed from the very start in the process, right? Through the tough times, they've never wavered. Their commitment has never wavered, and that has been compensated with the fact that they are very good players. And when you have players like that, that makes it easier for us and for me especially to coach, right? There's not a whole lot of ways in which you can mess up Max Jackson. Type deal. He's just Max Jackson, Jeffrey Daggs. They're just Hall of Fame players. So, and I mean by they, I mean the team. They've done a great job throughout the years and staying together, and that hard work has paid off.
One more question for you guys. So Andy, was there a specific turning point or turning point game, I should say, or a moment this season that made you believe that you guys were going to go all the way?
Shoot. No, I still don't believe we're going to go all the way. I think this kind of hit me last year after we did this interview. I think what I was doing was I was watching our sims, and I would get to the point, the day that we were submitting the playbook, and every sim that we would win, I would go, that's a trophy, that's a trophy, that's a trophy, that's not, right? And it's just different when you're in a game like this, and you think of it a little bit differently when you're running through the sims than you do a regular season game, right? You run through, that's a win, that's a win, that's a loss. That one needs this, that one needs that. But when you're playing for something like a trophy, it just has a different feel. And I think, it didn't hit me then last year that we were in that game until that moment. And I think similarly, I haven't really got to that point yet. But I think, not to harp on it too much, but the week 9 game where we kind of came out and I thought we would kind of have a dogfight with Mexico City, and, to sit there and score 40 on them, which is not something you could easily do in
42.
this league.
Just throwing that out there. It was 42.
Sorry.
I counted every one of those points. We got 0. It's easy to count our points.
Yeah.
And so once we kind of made it over 40 against them, and our defense played so well, I just, really thought to myself that, we played a really good game and we were a really solid team, or Ramos had to be on vacation, one of the two. So it sounds like both. And I'm sorry if I'm distracted. I'm on Expedia trying to figure out how quickly I can send him tickets to Argentina for the rest of the week.
I mean, to be fair, it was a dogfight. It was like a pit bull against a chihuahua or something. That's what it was back in week 9. It was not pretty. It was not pretty, for sure.
Well, you guys made it to the big show now. Now you're here. Now we want to get our money's worth. We want to be able to see what you guys put together, because right now it is a chess match. So last question for both sides. What do you think that you have to do, whether it's offensively or defensively, without giving too much away? What do you think you have to do to beat your opponent? So I'm going to start with you first, Mike and Joey, what do you guys have to do to beat Vancouver?
Well, certainly score more than 0, and
I would
preferably
hope so.
hold
Yeah.
them to 0. So I'd love to return the favor. Neither team is going to score 0 this time. I mean, that much I know. But Vancouver's a great team, and one of the things I've respected about the way that they play each game is you don't see the same thing week after week after week. They change it up a lot. They have playbooks they threw out there that are very run heavy. They have playbooks that they throw out there that are very pass heavy. Some that are a nice blend of the two. It certainly makes it difficult to game plan for them, which is why I'm really glad we have a defensive coordinator on staff this week. So that should come into play and help. But you got to respect their defense too. I mean, if you watched the last game they played, the pressure they put on the quarterback, absolutely just gave John Lakeman fits, back there. And, I feel sorry for Jordan Sipe this week. He's probably going to get hit a couple times. He's the least sacked quarterback in the league this season, but we'll try our best to make sure that happens in this next game. But we got to keep Jordan Sipe clean. He's got to not make mistakes. The mistakes usually get made when he's under pressure, and I know Vancouver can bring the pressure, but we do have quite a stable of weapons on offense. And I know we are going to be able to score some points this time. You got to self-scout too. You got to look back at your own games and really determine what has worked well, what hasn't worked well, and make the adjustments that you need to make. So, we learned a lot from that week 9 game. It's not like that was all for nothing. We were able to look at it and see what went wrong and figure out how to be better for it. And it worked pretty well the rest of the way.
Yep. So that's offensively. Defensively, we need to, it's kind of the cliche talk, especially for a playoff or championship game, but we need to get turnovers if possible, and then make the key stops on third downs inside the red zone. Basically, is what was one of the things that really helped us in the last championship game back in season 24. Is the fact that they had a lot of passing yards and they were moving the ball, but we were also able to get a few turnovers, and then the offense was able to capitalize with some points and get the stops to force some field goals. They try to go for a 2-point conversion. We were able to stop that. So it's those situational things in football that really make the difference in the championship game. So that's what we will try to do.
All right, Andy, Ezekiel, same question.
Yeah, I think from a game planning standpoint, from a team ownership standpoint, we just need to play our brand of football, right? The Vancouver, obviously, over the last 2 years has done a really good job of putting together, game plans that put us in position to win games. But like Ramos said, there is an element of the actual game itself that is a variable, right? The ball bounces into someone's hands when it's not supposed to. Someone fumbles for the first time over the season and it goes into the hands of the other team. Last year, Emmanuel Blackman in the championship game gets injured and is a question mark for half the game, right? In, out. So, I think we are going to put our brand of football out onto the field come game day. And, that's the best that we can do. I think, having overturned so much of our team to be here is a testament to kind of the brand of football that we put on the field. And win, lose, draw, the game never even kicks off because, Cam's internet goes down, whatever happens, I think our team and our franchise is in a really good spot right now. And we have a lot of team members that we've started to call lifers, who, are going to be on this team for, as long as they're going to be in the SFL. And so, obviously tomorrow or this weekend's a great opportunity to get that first ring, but that's not where our sights are, right? Our sights are on continuing to put our brand of football on the field. So, we're excited for the opportunity. We're very happy to be back and happy to be here. And we're going to put all of our effort into, bringing that trophy off of Mike Daggs' right shoulder and into my background. But, if that doesn't happen, then you're going to see us out here in season 26 and we're going to be coming with more vengeance. So we're just going to play our football. And I think that's all I can do as a coach and a team owner. But I don't know what might be going through Ezekiel's head right now as a player. I can't even imagine.
Well, let us know, Ezekiel.
No, I completely agree with Andy. We're going to play our brand of football, and our brand is run, it's pass, it's a strong, stout defense. Like Mike said, one game we'll come out there and we'll run it down your throat. Another game we'll air it out. You never really know what to expect from us, and I think that's a great way to keep everyone on their toes. But from my perspective, I think a lot of the burden is going to come down to Vancouver and us getting that monkey off our back and winning the game, winning a ring. Plus, Mexico City lost to us earlier this season. They can go back, they can look. They have that opportunity to say, this is what went wrong with us. It's a lot easier to fix those mistakes and come back and win a second time than for us to go out and beat Mexico City a second time. Or at least that's how I see it, how I think rematches typically play out. But we'll see.
I do have something special to present to you guys before we go. Guy Clausen wrote a poem about this matchup, and he asked me to recite it for him. So without further ado, this is for you.
The clash of fire and frost. It's the rematch that fans have been craving to see, where legends are written on SFL TV. Mexico City Aztecs blaze trails through the sky, smashing opponents and waving adios as they fly. They destroyed Season 25, left no doubts, no pity. Championships sparked all across Aztec City. For hashtag 12 forever, that hope still remains bright. Another title on the horizon, growing red in the night. But from the north, a cold wind starts to blow. The Vancouver Legion, where the frosted warriors grow. The eternal frost army strikes with chilling precision. Aggression, agility, a sub-zero vision. Make Jordan Sipes see double, the Legion declare. Their defense stalks quarterbacks like polar bears, and leading the march with ice in his veins is General Andy Hamilton, forging frosted flames. His thirst for trophies, his unthawable goal, only gold can melt the ice wrapped around his soul. So, will the Aztecs' fire consume the frozen night, or will frostbite conquer by morning light? Strap in, dear fans, it's more than a game. It's fire versus frost, and only one will remain. The battlefield awaits. Let history spin, for in this rematch, only one storm will win.